Hey everyone, here are two battles I want to bring to you of GSC Never Used. Now I know in my last video I made a pretty big mistake and I said, yes, I can win battles too. And that's because um, it seemed, first of all, as if I only uploaded videos where I don't win. Not that that's that important. I think losing is just as big of a learning experience than winning sometimes. I think also that when you win a battle, you fail to see where you can improve. And if anything, this is a personal experience for myself, but I also want to bring popularity to the never used tier. And we just happen to be having a never used tournament, a room tournament in Ruins of Alph here today, as you may see. And I did pretty well. I made it to finals. It was a tournament of 8 players only, but everyone I've faced was using pretty solid teams, so I'm going to show you the two which I used. The first team I use is this team which relies on spikes, but also on offensive prowess, let's say, by trying to threaten the opposing team with Flareon. Flareon has Fire Blast and Hidden Power Grass, which is extremely powerful in the right conditions. It's only essentially walled by other fire types. It has access to growth, so in the case, on the chance you do find any fire types, you can always pass it over to, say, Dugong, the next mon in this team. Extremely bulky, the beautiful mermaid, and Sleep Talk is just so reliable on this mon because it walls most of the special metagame. And then on the other hand, there's Wheezing with 2 moves in Thunder and Fire Blast, and Haze. So it manages to wall Primeape pretty efficiently and takes physical damage extremely well, even special damage to a certain extent. Haze manages to stop setup sweepers in their tracks, and Corsola is good if you want to have a designated wall for normal hitters. Not that Wheezing isn't reliable, but having a second wall to normal stat is pretty good. And then there's Xatu with Thief, because I kind of like Thief, although I don't end up using it particularly well. Then in my second team, just really quickly, we're going to go over it. Everything here is the same. The only change that I made was Pidgeot in the last match of this tournament, but I'll show you that in another video. What I had instead of Pidgeot was Noctowl with Curse, Rest, Sleep Talk, and Frustration because it doesn't know Double Edge. And Noctowl is slower, but bulkier on the special side, and does less damage. So the reason for which I chose Noctowl was because I don't have reliable walls in this team against any special attacks. I have Bayleaf with Reflect and Leech Seed, which can be kind of annoying. This is my only... No, sorry, Magnemite is my second Sleep Talker, and again, this is for normal attacks. This thing is extremely reliable. It can one-hit KO Xatu, which is the best mon in the tier. It walls a lot of normals. It deals so much damage. It has extremely high special attack. And again, I'm running Flareon, but this time I have Roar just because, I guess. I don't think I was running Roar, though. I must have done this modification in the last minute. I had... I think, growth on this team as well, so we'll see in the replay. And then Lovely Kiss, Poliwhirl. It's pretty fast, and it doesn't deal particularly that much damage, but it's pretty reliable, I say, as a water type. It's different from most others. So, on with the first match against Ness Isn't Okay. So, here I lead off with Flareon, and the reason being because this is my first team, the first team I showed you, because the lead spikers are extremely common, and the 2 lead spikers in the tier, Delibird and Pineco, are extremely weak to fire. So I start off really well, as I can just set up and use growth and hidden power grass, Oko's Graveler. So I don't blame my opponent for switching into Graveler here. He didn't see it, but I might have switched out because until you confirm that this Flareon has hidden power rock, I just wouldn't stay in. The grass and fire combo is really good, kind of like how electric and ice is really good. It's supposed to use the pseudo bolt beam coverage, essentially. So I bring in my Dugong, and my opponent brings in Shuckle. Shuckle is so annoying. I really don't find it to be a particularly competitive Pokemon yet. I lose to this sort of thing all the time in OU because its defenses are so high that it's actually reliable at walling Snorlax and just giving your team a hard time. It's really good against Machamp, so you have no idea how much I struggle with this thing. So I just, no hassles, I just want to bring in Dugong, which is my water type. It's the best way to threaten this thing if you don't have any rock users, but usually rock Pokemon don't have recovery, so I bring in Dugong. It has Sleep Talk. It really doesn't mind the toxic, but Flash is extremely annoying, and I might even say to some extent it would be kind of unreliable. I don't know. Depending on the situation, of course. Maybe if my opponent had an electric, this would have been a lot better. But yeah, that just goes to show you that even the NU Pokemon have potential in overuse, maybe more so than in never used or in underused, just because of the way that they synergize with their teammates. And the better the teammates, sometimes the better the Pokemon itself can be. So I bring in Weezing, and at this point, I made a calc here, so I knew that Fire Blast would kill, and just because it has better accuracy than Thunder, I went for that. But I brought in Weezing. Why did I bring in Weezing, anyways? I brought Weezing in the turn in which I thought of bringing in a Shuckle, but he brings in a Azumarill to wall my Dugong, which wasn't a bad play, but then I stay in with Weezing and I deal more than half HP with Thunder. So I put him in a bad spot. Usually what Azumarills do is they're also pretty passive. They use Whirlpool and Perish Song. I don't think Whirlpool is a very reliable way to use Perish Song, but that's the only way if you don't have Mean Look. So yeah. So I bring in my Dugong, and it takes just under 30%, so it's just, I think it's just shy of a 4-hit KO on Ninetales' attack. And in this battle, you can pretty much see that there isn't much left to do. He throws spikes, but he doesn't have any answers to my Flareon besides Ninetales. And together with my Dugong, Shuckle is kind of pointless. So I just use Growth twice, and now I have an extremely powerful Dugong. So I'm just going to fast forward because nobody wants to see Flash shenanigans happening. Okay, so that just goes to show you that I don't even need to rely on hitting 100% of the time, and that's why Flash can be kind of unreliable, especially with a move that has 24 PP. Maybe against a Machamp with Cross Chop, that's another story. Or against a Snorlax that's struggling to even land a not very effective attack on Shuckle. But yeah, so he brings in his Sneasel, and I just bring in Corsola just to be a little bit safe. And he actually reveals, I think, Hidden Power Ground, because if it were Grass, it would have one-hit KO'd me. So I switch into Weezing, and I use Fire Blast. At this point, I'm just trying to play safe, wall his Ninetales, then I go back to Dugong, he roars me out, and my Dugong dies by spikes and poison damage. So I was a little bit careless there. So I'm just going to try and make his Ninetales work for KOs if he really wants to beat me. So I'm still afraid that his fourth move could be Hidden Power Grass, though, or Hypnosis, which would probably be even worse for me. So I'm dealing chip damage with Xatu. I rest, and I switch back to Flareon just to make things interesting. I missed my Fire Blast, but at least, even with the death of Flareon, what this means is that I can bring in Weezing. So I'm kind of tired of all these misses and unreliable attacks, so I just explode on Ninetales. I wanted to save Weezing until now just to assure myself that I could kill Shuckle, but at this point, there isn't really much his team can do. I go for funny spikes, even though it's like he has 2 Mons left, but just in case he actually manages to outplay me, then I just explode because why not? And I bring in my core solo, which is faster, and I surf and I win the game. Then in the second match here, I'm facing against Parrot67, so this is the semi-finals of that tournament. And I'm using the other team, as you can see here. So I do lead off again with Flareon, just because I thought it would be a good idea. He brings Xatu. Not that it's bad to stay in with Flareon, but now I remember. My Flareon has, again, Baton Pass, but this time it's running Flamethrower, just to be a little bit more reliable with accuracy and with PP, most of all. But I wanted my Baton Passer to be healthy, so I switched to Noctowl, which is pretty bulky. And I was hoping to get my Sleep Talk off. Like, I wanted to deal damage, and then hopefully next turn I would have been able to use Rest. But he gets extremely lucky, and he gets a crit, and at the same time he gets the special defense drop. So I have to cut my loss and just move to Xatu, and then I attack his Xatu because I'm not sure of what move to expect. So I wanted to be sure of what his second move was. So that's a Hidden Power Electric, probably. Although I'm not sure. It actually could be Hidden Power Dark, but it did around the same amount of damage as my move, so I suppose it was Hidden Power Electric. So that's why I switch into Magnemite. I'm also unsure because I don't remember if in Generation 2 Steel resists Dark. Anyway, he goes for a Rest, which I think is a bit of a misplay because that's the last thing you want to do on Magnemite. That's the only Mon that OHKOs this thing, so I am not staying in on Flareon, even if he does have growth. But I was waiting a while because I was thinking of what he might be able to do to my team. So I was thinking between going to Poliwhirl or just staying in and using a Thunder. But then I thought that with the way the team is and how I don't want to run any further risks because my team is fairly healthy as it is, but already my 2 birds took some damage, so I don't want to make my situation any worse. So I just brought in Poliwhirl and I went for some damage, and it paid off because I got a crit. That means he's not going to be able to pull that kind of move off again. So I go for Psychic. I'm running like 4 attacks, I think. No, I'm running Lovely Kiss as my 4th move, but I have Surf Ice, Surf Blizzard, and Psychic. So yeah. So since technically I did see that my opponent was running Sleep Talk in the last battle, but regardless, I knew I was going to be fairly safe. So Octillery like to run either 3 moves and then rest, but those die very fast, so in that case I can force him to rest and then bring in Magnemite. Or they run Sleep Talk. And when they run Sleep Talk, they have Surf and an Ice move or a Fire move or Hidden Power Electric, depending on whether the water type wants to hit other water types or wants to hit grass types. So he hit my Poliwhirl super effectively. That's when I knew that I could switch into Bayleaf. So either way, with this core, I didn't have too many issues. I wouldn't have had too many issues. But you know, you never know. So it's at +1, so that's actually pretty important. But Bayleaf manages to take the hits very well. So I go for my Leech Seed and start being annoying because Bayleaf is pretty good. Then I go for this was also pretty crucial. 35 damage with Reflect up. It's a speed tie, as you can see here. So that would have 35. That could easily have killed me, I think. Oh shit. Let me go back to the turn I was looking at here. So here, then I go here, then I use my Leech Seed. So I'm at 76. 82. I most likely would have survived Sludge Bomb and gotten Reflect off, but speed ties can be pretty crucial. So I think that would have forced me to switch to another Mon. At which point I just choose to use Frustration with Noctowl here, or Curse, and set up, but that wasn't a great move because Noctowl dies. So I decide that with the Leech Seed up and everything, I'm just going to try and get some consistent chip damage. That to gain myself some momentum for Xatu to come in later. So I double into Magnemite. I don't really double in, I switch into Magnemite, but since I'm still afraid that he might have Fire Blast, I go to Poliwhirl. I lose my Poliwhirl, but it's not really good at dealing so much damage, so I guess I'm alright, as long as he doesn't pull too many shenanigans with his Mon. And this is interesting. So he has Growth, Roar, Baton Pass, and then what I assume would be a Fire move, and that's it. So I don't know. Unfortunately for him, I managed to... I mean, he roars in the one Mon in my team that's faster than his Flareon. And so that's probably going to spell death for his Flareon. So I go with a Psychic. Although, of course, not knowing what his team is, I'm not necessarily sure. But my fourth move is Giga Drain. And I was pretty glad about that. Not that it mattered too much, because I was still packing 2 grass users, actually 3, because even Magnemite had Hidden Power grass. But yeah, so I go with Reflect here. I kill his Graveler. His Graveler managed to crit my Xatu, but it's alright, I think. So with Leech Seed and Reflect, I can put his Mon in a difficult situation. So the only thing I'm weary of in this situation when bringing in Magnemite is his Wigglytuff being a Mon with special attacks. But I guess I was trying my luck here, because otherwise Magnemite basically walls Wigglytuff and deals a lot of damage. So he's trying to curse up, but it's to no avail, really. So here there's a speed tie. Octillery and Magnemite are of the same speed. If Octillery was running Fire Blast or Flamethrower, it would have easily killed Magnemite. But considering I still had 2 more Mons in the back, I was feeling pretty safe, especially with Bayleaf. Like, we already confirmed that it's Sleep Talk because of what I said earlier. And yeah, so it was... Oh no, my music froze. Okay, well, right when the battle ended, so I guess that's fine. Anyways, I hope you guys appreciate this, and as goes to show, I am able to win a battle. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you guys want to leave any comments, by all means, do so. GG's again, and I love you.